Hi everybody, how you doing? My name's Robin, and this is my eclectic nest. This is a channel where we talk a little bit about everything. Been doing a lot of readings lately because it's truly where my passion is. Well, so is astrology. Doing reading astrology charts, but that's a little hard to do like this. Um, so I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. You're growing nice and slow and steady, and I love it. Remember, it's always better to be the hare and not the tortoise, no matter what society wants to tell you. Um, yeah, so let's get into the reading. I'm going to bring in the astrology cards um, with the houses and the asteroids. I think next time I'm going to bring in the planets, though. It just give us a little bit more option. So, Mother and Father, um, could you please guide this reading and help those that need to help, that need to hear this message? And Mother and Father, I just pray that you protect me and anybody listening to this. Protect us from our enemies and from harm a thousandfold. Any bad vibes sent to me, send them back to sender and let them know why. In your beautiful name, amen. Okay. So, Father, just help us. What do you want? Oh, here they go. I am going to take these because I'm afraid I'm going to get the third house out again. Okay. Oh, so we got the seventh house, talking about relationships. Chiron, the wounded healer. And oh, we have a new one. That's nice. We have the 10th house. The seventh house is the house of Libra, ruled by Venus. So is Taurus, but it's different. She has two sides to her. And the 10th house is the house of Capricorn. It's the house of Saturn. He's father time. He's about crystallization. He's about the establishment. Um, the 10th house is about how you are viewed within society. So, the seventh house is also about open enemies and agreements. Um, it looks like there's going to be some healing. Um, that that prayer of protection that I just prayed over us. Um, it looks like for somebody it's getting healed. Um, yeah, the protection's there, and this isn't so much about enemies. Um, this is about somebody picking their career um, over their family, over their loved ones, and that's healing. There's going to be healing. Father time. That's the thing. It's about karma. It's about time, and it's not about our time. It's about Saturn's time. Back in the day, Saturn, in ancient time before we had better technology, um, Saturn was the outermost planet that we could see with the naked eye. Uh, and it's on the outskirts. Like it takes time. When we talk about light years, um, yeah, somebody's been waiting for this healing for a very, very long time. Um, and it's coming. It's coming. Time is on your side. Chiron's all over this. It looks like, with Chiron being here and being a wounded healer and somebody, Chiron was able to heal everybody else but himself. Um, it looks like somebody tried to take control, and you tried, your partner, you tried to, like, force a healing, force them, um, your partner, to do something that they weren't ready to do, without thinking that it might not be time, for them to learn that lesson, or for them, to give up, picking the career and social status over relationship. And I'm saying that because the 10th house, like I said, is ruled by Saturn. And you're not going to tell Saturn what to do. He was Kronos. In one myth, he was the father of Jupiter. And we know that Jupiter, um, is the equivalent of Zeus. He's the equivalent of Allah. He's the equivalent of, Yahweh. Um, And I didn't mean that to say to start worshiping Saturn. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, that's who Jupiter. This is the father of God. The way that this is coming through. So that's time. It takes time. It's like building a high rise. It's, I already said, crystallization. Um, uh, Making something concrete, making something steadfast. Saturn, Capricorn is an earth sign. It's the last earth sign. So that's where the manifestation, that, the things that you manifest in Taurus, and those desires, you know, go to they go to Virgo, for the discernment, and how you're going to serve, and it comes to Capricorn for the solidification of that. And sometimes that solidifying, um, it takes time. Everything takes time. It doesn't matter, you know, what it takes a while to build. And it looks like somebody's been trying to get their relationship to solidify. I mean, this is already, uh, even though it might not be in a 3D, this is a relationship that's already solidified. On the other side of the veil, it's solidified. In the 5D, as we like to say in our world. So stop trying to force this. Stop trying to force what's not, or what is. And also, just a reminder, when I say masculine and feminine, it's just energy, it's just archetypes. I'm not talking about sex. So if you're in a same sex relationship, or if you're trans, um, whatever your orientation is, I'm just talking about archetypes. Okay, and the balance, and the balancing of. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what the herb crafters tarot has to say. Yeah, because the world, is underneath the deck with the transformation. It's oh, look, and it's even a rainbow. So we might be talking about a same sex relationship here. Just keep that in mind. But it's going to be for everybody. And what's funny is this is set up like an astrology chart. This would be the ascendant, which is east. This would be the fourth, the beginning of the IC, the beginning of the fourth house, um, depending on what house system you use, which is north. This is west. This is the descendant, which is the seventh house. This is the beginning of the seventh house. And this is the MC, which is south, noon, high noon, um, which is the beginning of the 10th house. Yeah, what you wanted is yours. And I feel like you had some trials and tribulations. There's too many. You had some tribulations regarding this, whoever was trying to force this situation. But I think you learned your lesson of what it takes just to detach and let them see. Because, sometimes people, even if you're your partners and they are your twin flames, you don't always see things at the same time, the same way. Okay. And that's where the learning comes in, right? Um, so it seems like, you learned you learned to detach. Okay, so when our partners don't see the same things that we see, or our friends or our coworkers or whatever, and trust me, I had to learn this lesson a very hard way. Being able to see some people for who they are, and other people's in the old, my old friend groups, couldn't see what I was seeing. It took time. I had to learn to detach, because what I was doing is I was getting myself all upset, making myself look like an asshole. Excuse my French. Um, by trying to point out to others what I saw. And it seems like you learned the lessons of patience, and I had to learn to detach and let time take its course. And it still will. It you know, there's still, time will take its course. And I'm looking at a person um here that has learned that lesson and has brought this in. That's a highly spiritual, um ascended, what's the word I want, attribute to be able to attain and to internalize. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And with Chiron being here, um it hurt. It hurt a lot. Um but all good lessons do, right? I'll do this like this. I always love getting new ideas, especially around people. I learn with you guys every day. This is exciting. Okay. So, Mother and Father, what do you want us to know about this 10th house? What do you want us to know about this 10th house? I was like, I'm going to do a video. And I was like, that third house comes out again. I was just going to start internalizing it myself for myself. Like, what do I have to learn? But it didn't come out. So that's good. It's just like, geez, Louise Finnegan. Mother and Father, what do you want us to learn? What do you want us to say about this 10th house, about time, about karma? Oh, we got 2 cards here. Oh, we got 3 cards here. Yeah, we got the Empress, the Rose. This is definitely about a love relationship. If you happen to know your chart, maybe you have Venus in the 10th house, um, which is nice. We have ace of coins. Oh, and that's nettle, that it's a good healer. But when you go to pick nettle, you should wear gloves because they got little hairs that will cause a skin irritation. And we got the strength card, which is represented by Leo. Um, yeah, it seems like because you did take your lumps and you took responsibility, and that's the thing about the 10th house or Saturn. It's about responsibility. You know, nobody the way I like to describe it, and the the older people will know what I'm speaking of. Um, there used to be this hair band in the 80s called Twisted Sister, and that's when they used to, you know, we would watch MTV, blah 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 blah. So there was a father on there. At the beginning of the video, it was like a drill sergeant. Um, and he came out to his son and he was like, "What do you want to do with your life?" You know, coming in his fatigues. Um, that's Saturn. It's the general. Um, you have to be very responsible and very disciplined to get to the rank of general. You know, it is general. The Saturn is the glue, is what it's the glue that keeps a relationship together. You know, it's like, let's just say, you know, the relationships, right? Like where you're all hot and bothered and you really like each other and you have a good time, but you know, that person's never there to help you. That person, and it just sort of, you know, it just sort of fades out. You know what I mean? It's sort of like the relationship is like a firecracker. You know, it just was like bang, boom, it happened, and then nothing. You know, you're left with ringing in your ears. You know, um, Saturn's that glue that keeps the relationship together. It is the ones, you know, Saturn, the two people that lose everything they have, and the man and woman are living in the car and together, you know, till they're able to rebuild, you know, why they rebuild. That's Saturn. Very much needed. Very much needed. And it looks like the person that detached allowed, you know, even with the sting of the nettle, you took responsibility of that and through it, you know, through you took responsibility of the mess that you made in your relationship. You became the empress. You owned it, and when you owned that, when you took responsibility for the mess that you made, my dear, you know, this is feminine. This is the divine feminine that did this. You strengthened your relationship just by taking responsibility. There's a lot of respect to partners that can take responsibility. You know, you might be scared no matter how somebody might, no matter how much you messed up, but, you know, owning up to your stuff, no matter how big and how small, um, it adds that glue, that fabric, you know, and made it extra strong. And, you know, and I'm telling you, you brought sweetness to it. Through that strength, there's a honeycomb right there. You know, and look, there's more rose petals up here. That's phenomenal. You brought us by taking that responsibility of your mistake of trying to control the way things should have been, you and detaching, you know, you brought it extra level of sweetness to this. And because look, I want to show you something. I want to show you something. These cards, two cards go together so much because in the middle of this to show the Empress Queen Bee is another honeycomb. You brought strength and sweetness, and you took another level of love. You elevated your relationship, an extra level of love. And and I just want you to know, please, 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 if you guys are in separation right now because of this nettling, you know, nettling, meddling, kind of rhyme, don't they? Um, because you took responsibility, especially in the 5D with your prayers, and you surrendered, you transformed it. You did. You transformed it because, there's a little butterfly right there. And that that is some sweet stuff. That's some very sweet stuff. Mother and Father, clarify Chiron here. What do you want them to know about this Chiron? This wonderful. Yeah, it's like we have Temperance, which is camellia. I'm not too familiar with that. It doesn't grow around here. I don't, that doesn't, I'm in the northeast of the United States. Um, I'll have to look up on that. But you can make a tea out of it. And we have seven of air, eucalyptus. Now, eucalyptus, is something that you would find in medicine that helps open up the airway. Um, you know, in temperance, when I think of temperance, I think of, um, it's a little bit at a time. Through the patience that you showed, and slowly brewed, because, it looks like it was a long process. It went from the vine, okay, and you had to dry it out. So you can just put it in your little mortar here and grind it up and to brew it to have your tea. Very fragrant tea, I'd imagine. This almost reminds me of like a jasmine tea. I'm just curious. Hold on. Oh, did it again. Hold on, please. Okay. I'm sorry about that. So, because the last time when I made a video, I I had to read something and it was like 3 minutes long, and I thought I paused the recording, but I didn't. So that's why I was looking a little weird there before I pulled out. Okay, so it says here the camellia is one of the oldest plants. Is the oldest, most widely used botanical in history. And it's saying that it's strong for the heart, and it reveals them. The tea. This card is representing the practice of having tea. And allowing the whole process of having tea is a mindful practice. It brings you in. It says, trust the magic of presence. See the sacred in the simple. Create new magic from what is familiar. So it says camellia is one of the oldest, most widely used botanicals in history, which is perfect for the 10th house, which is perfect for Saturn. Um, Chiron sits right between, its orbit is between Saturn and Uranus. So Chiron's very familiar with time. Okay. Um, through the balance and through your mindfulness, you healed this through the inspiration of your mind. And the eucalyptus is representing the freshness that you brought in. You opened up the channels for new breath to be breathed, for new breath to be blown into your relationship. And that is truly an empress. That truly is an empress um uh happening, quality, a quality of a true empress. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So I'm still learning. I love to learn, and I hope you don't mind it. That it's what I do. I'm not going to BS you and say that I know something if I don't know it, because that only hurts me and it hurts you. And I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. So I hope you have patience for it. Um, okay. What else would you? What do you want us to know about the seventh house? What do you want us to know about the seventh house? We got the nine of fire, and it came out upside down, and so did the devil. Oh yeah, yeah. So wild cherry. Nine of fire is represented by wild cherry, and for cherries to bloom, they need a male and a female. And the seventh house is about your partner. It's not about you. It's Aries is you. The seventh house, which is its polarity, is about the other person. Okay. And what came out is the devil, blackberry. Now, there are several types of blackberry. You can get caps blackberries, which are very small. I don't know if they have them in your region. Or you can get those big whopping ones that can almost be the size of my thumb. Now, those big whopping ones, sometimes you don't know what you get. They're not very sweet. And and they can be very seedy. And it's the devil. And it came upside down. And what you did, the nine of fire, is, with this being in reverse, it's almost you ended the cycle of the burden that you were carrying. And it looks like the person, the masculine, was a workaholic, always putting his job and career over the seventh house, over his partnership. And a workaholic, and if anything is aholic at the end, shopaholic, workaholic, alcoholic, um, addict, even though it's not an aholic, but you get it. It causes harm to yourself and to others. A sexaholic, it causes harm to you and others, and those, especially those that are close to you. And then through you learning through the Empress, okay, being the Empress and taking your time and being mindful and adding that sweetness, you allowed your masculine or your partner in general, but I got a feeling that this is feminine because the Empress came up. You allowed your masculine to have the space to breathe, seven of air, to breathe and to see where he was cheating you, cheating the family, cheating this relationship. And he was able to beat that shadow of not the devil, his demon of not having, um, giving the family enough time. See, because this is a pie. They made a pie out of that. Who doesn't like berry pie? I love berry pie. And by this, and by you giving him space, you were able to show him the burdens that you were carrying. And this is a man of Saturn. This partner is Saturn. Little rough. That father that came in saying, "What do you want to do with your life?" might have been a prick, right, to his son, but that son was not wanting for anything either. It was a provider. And, he was still the provider. That's Saturn. Provide you with comfort, provide you with stability. Well, not so much comfort. The comfort, the smell goods and the feel goods, fabrics and stuff. That's more Venus and Taurus. That's what Venus gives to Taurus. Yeah, you did a very beautiful thing, a very mature thing. You're very wise, Empress, beyond your years. And there's so much bountiful since you let that go. I mean, look how much bounty is there. Look at everything hanging. You know, you got corn, you got corn drying for the next harvest. It looks like some valerian root. You got some lavender in there, some comfrey. The fire's burning. You got pink jars here, which is no joke. Those old pink jars, they're expensive. Um, yeah, you saved this. You solidified it just by being the Empress and allowing, and now, your gentleman wants to come in and work just as hard for you as you did for the rest of the family. Just by having temperance, just by holding your tongue, just by allowing him to have that space, as I said, to realize what he was doing. And so he can start providing the strength and walk beside you. Walk beside you. That's beautiful. Um, let's see what the Intuit Oracle has to say about this. Since this is, I'm just doing that because part of this is for people that are already in union. Some of this, as I mentioned before, is about what people are doing in the 5D. So take it as this resonates. I got cards falling on the floor like usual. What parts of this? But I want to pull cards here for those that are in separation. All right. All right. Thank God I did my yoga today, huh? I just want one more. Oh, and there it is. There it is. And on the bottom of the deck, we have, I don't read these in reverse. I know this is more than a relationship and that there is a higher purpose to our connection. Yeah, it's going back to, the mission, and we could even, because, every twin flame, you have missions. When you come into union, you'll have a mission. So, and what's nice about this is, on the 3D, those that are in, union right now, to the Empress that gave the space, and you always had it in the back of your mind that there was something more. Your man in the 3D is starting to come to realize that. It says, when I let myself go deeper into thoughts of you, I can feel my heart opening. Yeah, it goes through the 5D. Your masculine's starting to feel the prayers that you sent up. It says, sometimes I feel like you're speaking to me in my head. At times it triggers me because I wonder how much you can see into me. Yeah, I'm just going into the spot speaking to me into your head. He knows that you're working on this, like as this other one has said, and as far as the 3D goes, the prayers that you sent up work too. He heard you, honey. He heard you. And obviously those that are in connection right now, even if this is soulmate, because soulmates still can have that psychic connection. Well, it'd be not more psychic, it'd be more emotional, going through the moon, moon to moon. Um, that gives emotional harmony in a relationship. Um, you know, it bothered him that you could see this about him being a workaholic and not taking the time that's needed for the relationship. Maybe he was just being a little jerk himself and just doing it on purpose, but that's the beautiful thing about detaching, because then once you detach, you stop nagging. Once you stop nagging, um, your partner that won't have you to blame it on anymore. He has to take full responsibility for whatever. It says, I'm triggered, an old pattern has surfaced and it hurts. And, um, and it's because of your prayers. It's because your prayers are convicting him, you know, um, because, we got some very pungent smells here. We got the eucalyptus. We have, eucalyptus and garlic here. Uh, they're strong smells. You want to turn your face away from them. Me personally, I love them. They don't bother me. Um, but those that are in separation, those prayers, um, he sees himself through those prayers. He's starting to realize really what he did do. And it hurts. That, guys. When you're in your dark night of the soul, that's the thing about the dark night of the soul, is to crack you, and to crack that shell and let the light of God come out, and so for you to fulfill your purpose, you know that hurts. That. I know that. And it's dirty. I says, I feel the sexual energy between us, yet it's beyond physical attraction. It needs to be elevated to the expression of deep, unconditional love. And that's what you did, because you remember when I said about what you did is by solidifying that. Yeah, by you taking that time out, my dear feminine, and you that is unconditional love. By not forcing a situation and allowing people to learn on their own time, that is unconditional love. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Wow. This is great. We got 2 9s here. If that means anything to anybody, we got 2 3s. So if anybody's seeing 9 9s, or 99, 999, 3 3s, 3 3, this just might be just for you. And then, the thing is this one card is 6 and this other card's 9, which equals up to 15. And that's the number of the devil card. That's the devil. That's the devil. Yeah. And just by you, sending those prayers out, and, the guides convicting your masculine, that's what triggered into 3D to bring this into wholeness, to get what you're doing right now, what you have, beautifulness. And those that are dealing with the 5D, that are dealing with the twin flame, it's what's happening right now. The 3D relationships are healed. This is where you're at. The 5D, this is what's coming. And you're doing it. And you can switch this, you know. Um, and if you're masculine, if anybody, a masculine, and you're listening to this, this is talking about how you might want to get into more into your divine feminine side of you. to do this, because sometimes some runners are female. It's all about energy, especially if she's a masculine female. That would be one with like a moon, a moon in Aries, or, any uh, um, in a masculine sign. Um, that's me. my moon's in, my moon's in Sagittarius. Um, but it's in the fourth house, so it softens it up a little bit. But, I've been known to wrestle and, to give somebody a good punch in the arm, back in the day. I was a tomboy. Still am. Um, but now I guess we call it being woke, don't we? Which is good. Which is good. Okay. So let's see what the angels have to say. Let's see. In the 5D, I want to pull 2 cards, Spirit. Can I have 2 cards? One for the 5D and one for the 3D relationship. Oh, nope, not that one. For the 3D, we have Cassio, a 7. It says Keeper of Karma and Time. Oh, my Lord. Are you kidding me? How can... Oh, I just love synchronicities. Look at her with that. Look at her with that wand. Almost like looking... And she's... If Obi-Wan was a female. Says Cassio, keeper of karma and time, boundaries, time, discipline, solitude, rules, tears, the paradox of light versus dark. I help you balance your karma and teach you how to go through life's challenges, trials, and tribulations. Yeah, and this is Jupiter in Capricorn, which would be, Jupiter gives blessings, is very benevolent. Think of him as Santa Claus, and very very big. Anything that Jupiter touches, it expands. And Capricorn, Jupiter and Capricorn, and I just told you Capricorn is about the responsibility, and Jupiter is also good times. Saturn's about discipline. Capricorn's about discipline. It would take a long time for the blessings of the gods and the goddesses to come down on you. This is where you would have to put the work in. It's almost like the chosen ones, which is funny that this is coming out because I just watched some videos on that. Yeah, this is Keeper of Karma and Time for the 5D is saying, babies, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. Okay? For union, but keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep sending the prayers up. Keep detaching. Surrendering to the situation of surrendering to the separation. I'm sorry if I repeated myself. I do that a lot. As you probably know by now, which is okay because you're still here, right? Yeah, and that's the paradox of the light versus the dark. Because you remember when I said about what it's like, you know, and you that watching me probably have gifts yourself, and when you see things that other people can't see, um, and you want to tell the whole world about it, and then it just makes you look like the asshole, and if it doesn't immediately, it will. Give it time. And I've learned this. I've learned this the hard way. Um, That's the paradox of the light and the darkness. Because you think that you're doing a good thing by warning people about this situation, or whatever, situation that your partner's getting into, or another person, or what have you. Um, but it just brings more darkness to you. It frustrates you. It makes you angry. It brings your ego out, and by letting go, by detaching, you bring bring it in. You bring in the blessings, you know? So if you're having a hard time detaching and surrendering, Cassio might be the one that you want to bring into your energy. Ask her to come into your energy because because the ancients are with you. We have a dragon here. That's the part of this camellia. That's what it said to us. It was very ancient. In solitude, you might have to go into solitude a little bit and let people figure out who's who and what's what. There ain't nothing wrong with that. And it takes discipline, though. It takes a lot of discipline not to force your will on somebody else. What do you want to tell us about the 3D group? Rick Biel, ruler of the divine chariot, movement, dynamic action, coordination, teleportation, fights and defeats chaos. I shelter you from storms and show you how to use your Merkaba to become a chariot of the divine power. Yeah, and we have the glyph for Mars here. And that's exactly what you did, my dear feminine. You, through your prayer and through giving your partner enough time and respect to figure out what they needed to do for your family, for your partnership, in a way, you became the ruler of the divine chariot, right? I mean, we don't see the divine. We see evidence of the divine all around us. We can feel the divine, but we don't see the divine, And without you knowing it, as I said before, you were being the empress, you grew into the empress, and now that you are the ruler of the divine chariot, you are now the driver up because you learned how to detach. And you used your power. You used your divine power. Good for you. Good for you. Because remember what I said, that detachment is a higher thinking. It's a very 5D thing to do. Let go and let God. And that's exactly what you did. Good for everybody here. There's nothing but love and growth here. Love and growth and resilience. And there's blessings coming. And those blessings, with that Jupiter being in Capricorn, and I'm not sure what this glyph is here, but if you see it, it's a cross. And it looks like it has like a covering over it. Protection. It's like, especially the 5D, those that aren't in union, that aren't seeing anything coming into into the material yet, into the 3D reality. It's coming. You're protected. You're protected. And you, my 5D feminine, you are elevating up. When you truly and fully surrender, you are fully into your divine feminine power, and that is how you bring the masculine back. Okay? So, all right. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for your support. If you would like a reading, you can get a hold of me at robinseclecticnest@gmail.com. Please hit subscribe and please hit like. Okay. Have a good day. Thank you. Peace.